right, I first want to apologize for not answering your question right away. I just don't know why I didn't see it. Okay, secondly, let me talk a little bit about my school and like the three things that I think is really great about Holt and some things that maybe you should consider. So firstly, why I like Holt is that it had multiple campuses across the world. At the time when I applied, I was supposed to be in the class of 2014, but I deferred my enrollment for 1 year. And when I applied, they had campuses in London, Dubai, Shanghai, Sao Paulo, San Francisco, and Boston. So they had 6 campuses, and I was eyeing the Shanghai campus and the Sao Paulo campus. But the Sao Paulo campus was ahead of my radar because I was doing jiu-jitsu at the time and I wanted to learn Portuguese, and I thought it was be a good way for me to like get into the like Brazilian culture. But they when I decided to go and be the class of 2015, they had closed the Sao Paulo campus for, I think it was for safety, and there wasn't enough people choosing to go there. So I ended up in Shanghai. Shanghai was great because when they provided housing for you, you got to stay in the, they had a dorm for like the first, I think, 3 or 4 modules. So and it was included in your tuition, which is one of the problems I had, which I'll talk about later. But that was including your tuition. And at our Shanghai campus, there was the MBAs, and there was Master of International Business, which is what I have my master's in. Holt also has masters in there's a Master of Finance program and there's a Master of Marketing program, and they also have an executive MBA program for people that want to work, or like they have like many years, like 15 years of work experience, and they want to pursue their MBA. At the time, I was considering an MBA just because, MBA looks cooler, but I literally only had 2 years of work experience because I graduated in, not to date myself, but 2011, and I applied for school in 2014, so that is only 3 years of experience. And I think for the MBA program, they require at least 6 years of experience, 5 or 6, I can't remember exactly, so I couldn't apply for that. Secondly, the thing that I really like about Holt International Business School is the fact that you have an opportunity to work with people across the world. So they put you in groups, so you learn how to work with different cultures, people with different backgrounds, like all that stuff. So like even in my first module, it was a group of us that and people that I'm close to this day. Like shout out to my friend Eduardo, Nat, and Fernando. Like we're so cool to this day. But you like in my group, it was us 3. So me, American, Fernando is Mexican American, Eduardo isn't just Mexican, Nat is Thai, and then we're working with 2 German dudes, Chris and Moritz, and the thing is, like, it's really funny to see the dynamics because Germans have a certain way of working, like Latin Americans have a certain way of working, and like Nat, who is like the random like Asian person, has her own way of working. So it was really cool to get that together. So you do learn there is, you will bump heads. Like that's the thing. Like you always are going to bump heads, but you learn how to work through those difficulties. Oh, the one thing I forgot to mention too is that Holt has this thing called, it's like a rotation. So the campuses I mentioned minus Shanghai no longer exist now, unless they have the executive MBA. Go on their website, it's holt.edu, to see if they still have that program. But you could rotate to different campuses. So let's say my home campus is Shanghai. I have the option of rotating to all those other campuses, with the addition to rotation campuses that are only available for certain modules. So for me, like I went from Shanghai and I went back home to New York because it just worked out family-wise. Like my sister was graduating from her bachelor's at the time, and I wanted to see my family and all that stuff. So it worked out to rotate back to New York for that one module. That was like about 6 weeks. And then I rotated back to Shanghai so I could they're offering people that graduated from Shanghai campus to get a extended student visa. So then if you want to find a job and all that stuff, you had, I think, 3 months to find a job with that visa. In terms of the curriculum, honestly, if you have a background in like business, that Holt is probably not the school for you, because for me, like my bachelor's was in English and professional writing. So it didn't really make sense for me. It makes sense for me because I didn't know anything about finance. Like, I didn't know anything about accounting. Marketing, I had already known. Just because I worked in marketing, even for the 3 years I did, I understood marketing already. So I did like awesome in that class. But if, certain business things, you will learn that. But if you have that background, a lot of my friends who had bachelors in businesses or like business administration, whatever their bachelors were in, they said that the subject matter was very basic for them. And then the third thing I liked about Holt is that they did, because of the connections that they have, you could, you were learning, there was a lot of learning outside of the classroom. So, a lot of like visits to like factories. Like, there's some people that were, if they're interested in the fashion industry, they got to go to like the Salvador Ferragamo. Sorry, I'm not a luxury girly. I mean, I love luxury, but I'm not like, I don't know the brands and stuff. And then we went to like a car factory, and then they also have stuff like Chinese business etiquette and different networking stuff. Like, it's really great. So they really do set you up to learn and to connect and network and all that stuff. So you could use your connections to find jobs and to better your business. Sorry, I realize I'm talking a lot. I'll do another video about like the issues that I have with Holt. Again, I don't regret my decision of going there. But yeah, it's definitely a program. I saw some other programs when I was up. I knew when I was getting my master's, I wanted to do it abroad. So I went to like a fair for different master's programs. So at Holt was like a top choice, and they also, University of Manchester has a really good program. And then there's another school I was looking at that was really good that I was considering, but I have to look at, I can't remember all of them. But I will tell you about the qualms that I have, but Holt is definitely a good choice if you're considering a master's where you could live abroad.